It's 3:42 in the morning, and while your alarm hasn't even thought about ringing, a man is already buttoning his uniform in the dark. His name doesn't matter. He could be driving a freight line outside Hamburg or a metro under Moscow. What matters is that 25,000 tons of steel will answer to his hands in about an hour. He drinks coffee standing up. He never sits before a shift. Sitting makes him sleepy, and sleepy kills. At the depot, he signs in. A medical check measures his pulse, his breath, sometimes his blood alcohol. One failed test, and he goes home. Railways across Europe enforce a zero limit for drivers. He passes. He always passes. In 19 years, he has never failed a single check. Now he reads the route sheet, speed limits, signals, track work, the weight of every wagon behind him. A freight train can stretch over 700 meters. Stopping it from full speed takes more than a kilometer of track. Think about that. He sees a problem, and the steel keeps moving for a full minute before it cares. So everything happens in his head, minutes before it happens on the rails. He climbs into the cab. The locomotive hums. Hundreds of buttons, dials, and screens stare back at him. One pedal he must press every 30 seconds. They call it the dead man's switch. If he stops pressing, the system assumes he collapsed, and the brakes apply on their own. At 4:50, the green signal lights. He releases the brakes, and 25,000 tons begin to roll. The first hour belongs to the night. Empty stations slide past, lit yellow and silent. He watches the signals. Green he goes, yellow he slows, red he stops, no argument allowed. A red signal passed without permission is the railway's deadliest mistake. They call it a SPAD. In Britain alone, signals passed at danger happen roughly 250 times a year. Most end harmlessly. A few have killed dozens. He thinks about that on every approach. The sun comes up around 6. Now he can see the rails, but the danger doesn't sleep with the dark. People wander onto tracks. Cars freeze on crossings. Animals appear out of nowhere. Worldwide, level crossing accidents kill thousands every year, and the train almost always wins. Here's the part nobody tells you. When a driver hits someone, he cannot stop in time, ever. He sees the person, he brakes, and he watches, helpless, for the longest seconds of his life. Studies in Germany found that up to 1 in 6 drivers develops trauma after such an event. Many never return to the cab. This man has driven past 2 such mornings. He doesn't talk about them. By 9 a.m., he reaches the freight yard. The wagons are uncoupled, weighed, and sorted. He gets 30 minutes. He eats from a metal box, the same lunch his wife packs at midnight. No restaurant, no colleague across the table. The cab is quiet, and the quiet follows him home. Train drivers report some of the highest isolation rates of any profession. Hours alone, every shift. The afternoon run carries chemicals. Tankers marked with hazard codes he memorized years ago. One derailment with the wrong cargo can empty a town. He knows the weight of every coupling behind him. He doesn't speed. Speed saves minutes and costs lives. The timetable can wait. The physics cannot. At 2:15, a storm rolls in. Rain cuts his sight, and wet rails stretch his braking distance by a third. He slows without being told. No one is watching. The decision is his and his alone. This is the truth of the job. For 10 hours, hundreds of lives ride on choices nobody sees. By 4 p.m., fatigue arrives. The brain wants to drift, and a drifting driver is the real danger. Microsleep can last 3 seconds. At 100 kilometers per hour, that's 80 meters traveled with closed eyes. So he talks to himself. He calls out every signal aloud. A habit Japanese railways turned into a system. It's called pointing and calling, and it cuts errors by up to 85%. At 5:30, he hands the train to the next driver. The steel keeps moving. His part of it ends. He files his report. Every break, every delay, every signal logged for people he'll never meet. He has moved freight worth millions today and spoken maybe 40 words out loud. He drives home in a car, and for the first time all day, the speed is small and the stakes are smaller. His kids are asleep when he leaves and asleep when he returns 3 nights out of 7. Across the world, over 600,000 people drive trains, and most of us never wonder who they are. They move 7% of the planet's freight and carry billions of passengers who stare at phones, not at them. Tonight he sets the same alarm. 3:42. The dark, the coffee, the steel that answers to his hands. Next time a train passes and you wait at the barrier, remember the figure in the front window. He carried your packages, your fuel, your morning, and he did it awake while the world slept. So the next time you complain about your commute, picture the man who started his day in the dark so yours could run on time.